Okay, so you've definitely seen this term leaky gut all over the internet, right? It gets blamed for basically everything, from being tired all the time to achy joints. But what's the real story? What does the actual science have to say about it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig in and separate the hype from what's really happening.
So let's just get right to it. The big question is leaky gut syndrome a real medical condition you can be diagnosed with, or is it something else entirely? Let's follow the evidence and get to the bottom of this.
Let's treat this kind of like a mystery we need to solve. The whole idea of leaky gut syndrome has completely taken off and millions of people believe in it. Our job here is to be the detectives, follow the clues from actual medical research, and figure out the truth.
And here's our first, and honestly, our most important clue. Leaky gut syndrome is not an official medical diagnosis. The Cleveland Clinic calls it a hypothetical condition. In other words, it's a theory, an idea that a leaky or porous gut might be the hidden cause of a whole bunch of other health problems.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. We have to carefully pull apart the popular theory from a very real medical fact, and it all boils down to one key difference: the difference between a syndrome and a symptom. So here it is, the core of the whole thing. The popular theory, leaky gut syndrome, claims that a leaky gut is the cause of other diseases. But what established medical science says is that intestinal permeability, which is the actual medical term for a leaky gut, is a symptom or a sign of other diseases. See the difference? One says it's the cause, the other says it's an effect.
So let's get a really clear picture of what intestinal permeability actually is. The best way to think about it is to imagine your gut lining is like a super fine mesh screen on a window. It's smart, it's designed to let all the good stuff like nutrients from your food pass through into your bloodstream. But it's also designed to block the bad stuff: toxins, undigested food particles, nasty bacteria. Increased permeability, or a leaky gut, simply means the holes in that mesh screen have gotten a bit bigger than they should be.
Okay, so intestinal permeability is a real thing. We've established that. So the next logical question is, which diseases are scientifically for sure connected to it? Let's see what the research shows.
Medical science has confirmed a very strong link between a leaky gut and a few specific and pretty serious conditions. We're talking about major inflammatory and autoimmune diseases like inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD, celiac disease, and even HIV/AIDS.
And this just hammers home that key distinction we talked about. In all of these medically recognized cases, scientists see the leaky gut as a consequence of the disease itself. It's a symptom, or maybe an early warning sign that something is wrong, but it's not the thing that started the fire.
This brings up a really good question. What does it actually take to damage your gut lining so much that it becomes permeable like this? Because it turns out, it's not as easy as you might think. It's so important to realize that your gut lining is incredibly tough and resilient. I mean, it's a powerhouse. It has all these layers of defense and an amazing ability to constantly repair itself. So to actually break through that barrier, researchers say it takes a significant and prolonged assault. That sounds pretty intense, doesn't it?
So what kind of assault are we talking about here? Well, the major causes that are medically recognized are pretty serious. We're looking at things like chronic inflammatory diseases, heavy-duty treatments like chemotherapy and radiation, long-term overuse of painkillers like aspirin or ibuprofen, chronic heavy alcohol consumption, and certain food allergies that really fire up your immune system.
And here's another really crucial point to understand. You don't actually feel your gut being permeable. What people feel are the symptoms of the underlying problem, the injury or the inflammation that's causing the leakiness in the first place. So things like that burning feeling from an ulcer, painful indigestion, diarrhea, bloating, low energy, those are all signs of the initial damage, not the leakiness itself.
All right, we've talked a lot about the problem. So what about the solutions? Let's switch gears and talk about what you can actually do to support the health and strength of your gut lining.
So for a medically significant, what they call a pathological leaky gut, the answer is actually really direct. The only known cure is to treat the root cause. That means treating the IBD, the celiac disease, or whatever the underlying condition is. When you fix that disease, the gut lining can finally heal itself.
But what about just for general gut wellness for most of us? The strategy is pretty simple. On one side, we want to boost the gut supporters, things like probiotics, prebiotics, which are basically food for those good bacteria, and of course, balanced nutrition. And on the other side, we want to reduce the gut stressors, which are things like too many dietary fats and sugars, and of course, chronic stress.
Okay, so after looking at all the evidence, where do we land? What's the final verdict on all this? Here's the main takeaway. You know, this quote from the Cleveland Clinic just hits the nail on the head. It says that for most people who are having gut issues, the problem isn't some dramatic, full-blown case of a leaky gut. It's way more likely to be just general gut inflammation, which is the step before you get to permeability. And this can be caused by the pileup of everyday things like diet and stress.
And that's really the bottom line. While leaky gut syndrome might not be an official diagnosis your doctor will give you, the core issue it's pointing to, gut inflammation, is absolutely 100% real. And the really good news is that for most of us, it's something that is manageable and can be improved with changes to our lifestyle and diet.
So all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. In our own search for health, how do we get better at navigating between these popular online trends and actual proven science? I think it all comes down to asking the right questions and always looking for the real evidence.